Hello, and thank you for joining me today on Give Us This Day. Such an exciting time in God and what He's doing in the earth and what He wants to do in us as people. I was contemplating a few things this week, and as I was thinking back to the early '80s. My parents, we were raised in a mainline church, and my parents were born again, and we started going to a very small charismatic Pentecostal church. And I did not personally have a relationship with Jesus Christ at the time. It was all new to me. And I remember a particular Sunday that we were there that a young lady, a few years younger than me, and at that time I was probably 14 years of age, she just had a spectacular voice as like a 12-year-old girl. And she started singing an old school song. Some of you may be familiar if you're close to my age. It was the song by Amy Grant, El Shaddai. And as she started singing this song, I didn't know El Shaddai. I didn't know any of the Hebrew that she was speaking as part of the song, and I didn't know any of the Bible songs themselves, and I didn't know who Abraham was, and I didn't know what the ram was about. I didn't know any of those things. But as she declared this song, and it so touched me that maybe it was the call of God on my life, maybe it was His hand always upon me. But as she began to sing this song, it was like I could feel God. I could feel Christ. And it was so powerful. It was so real. Even as I share this story with you today, I can feel that first encounter that I had with Him when I met Him for the first time. And that day, not in particular, but that season of time, put me on a path that was going to forever change the destiny of my life, provide me opportunities to minister in so many capacities. And today I have this opportunity to share a word with you, those of you that are tuning in. And as I was pondering this, I started thinking about Psalm chapter 8. In Psalm chapter 8, it says, "What is man that you're mindful of him, or the son of man that you visit him? You have created him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over all the work of your hands, and you have put all things under his feet." I didn't know any of these things when I first came to Christ, as no one did. I didn't know the promises of God. I didn't know the plans that He had for me. I didn't understand any of those attributes and things that He wants to share with us. I just met a God that says, "I set my love on you." I don't know if you can hear, but I've got a cold this week, and it's kind of been hanging out with me. And my son brought it home from school and decided to share it with me. So lucky me. And so this week, I've kind of been cloudy, and I do a lot of cooking at the house. I do a lot of different things, and I just kind of been cloudy in my thought process. Like I can't really put everything together. Everything's just a little more laborsome, if you will. And as I was pondering this scripture and all that goes with it, and how esteemed we are in God's eyes, sometimes through life we can kind of forget. The hardships of life come, the pruning of life comes, the sifting, if you will, the process that God is using to shape us, to form us, can come along, and we can forget that first meeting place when God set His affections on us, and His intent from the very beginning was that he didn't make us angels. He made us a little lower than the angels. But it was intentional that we would be crowned with His glory. We would be His crowning glory in the earth. And that He literally made us. He formed us. He created us with such intent, such deliberateness to be His glory. Literally putting all things under our dominion. How powerful. Wow, what does God think about you? It got me thinking about Hagar. Here's this woman who was kind of thrust into a situation to have a child by Abraham, and she's now received the seed. She's conceiving a child inside of her, and she's conceived a child, and so now Sarah's angry, and she's treating her very poorly. And so she goes running off into the wilderness. She goes to find a spot where she can be whatever emotion she was being overwhelmed by. And in that moment, she's hiding out And the angel of the Lord comes up to her and begins to talk with her and shares a word with her. And I just wanted to turn real quickly and just read one little bit from Genesis chapter 16. Because after this meeting place with the Lord, she called the name of the Lord and spoke to her and said, "You are the God who sees." I want to encourage you today. The same God that set his affections on you maybe years ago, maybe last week, he's not quit you. He's not turned his back on you. Maybe you've gone through some sifting or some hard things, but he's reaching out to you because the God who sees still has a glorious plan for you and still wants to see you fulfill everything he's declared about your life. Let's turn to him yet fresh again. Have that encounter with him yet again, that heartfelt experience. God bless you. Thanks for joining me today.